there was a game Wednesday night that I kind of wanted to get into that I caught for a little bit, and just because they are my team or one of my teams right now. That's my main team. My main team is the Indiana Pacers. I'm a Pacers fan. That's my main team. But since I am a Russell Westbrook fan, I am a fan of the Houston Rockets now, and it's not looking like how I thought it was. I think they just won actually too. They was playing the Mavericks, and last time I checked, they was beating the Mavericks. Let me check the score on that. But on Wednesday, they was not doing too good, and they haven't been doing too good as of late. More specifically, James Harden. Um, yeah, they actually just won. They beat the Mavericks 128 to 121. Good for them. I'm happy. But on Wednesday, like I said, they wasn't doing too good, and James Harden's shooting numbers have been abysmal lately. People have been talking. I know people have been saying like he's been doing this for a while. He's just chucking up shots. Not like this. Granted, some games he has been putting up some like still good numbers, like points wise, but efficiency wise from the field he's not. Thankfully, he's a good free throw shooter where he's getting most of his points from. In his last 5 games, not including the one he just played tonight, his shooting splits looked like this. In the Portland game, he shot 5 for 18. He was inactive the 2 games prior to that against Utah and Denver. Then before that, he played Minnesota. He shot 3 for 13 with 12 points. He had he had 18 points in the last game against Portland. But he had 12 points against Minnesota. Then the game before that against Denver, he had 6 for 13. He went 6 for 13, having only 27 points. Like I said, he was doing good from the free throw line. Before that, he had 9 for 29 from the field. It's 20 shots missed right there. It's a lot. Going for 29 points, like I said, doing good at the free throw line. And then before that, he went 8 for 20, scoring 34 points. Again, most of his points is coming from the free throw line. He's a season average from the free throw line this year. He is, where is the numbers? Oh, numbers. How do we love them so? Came to see him. Oh, well. But in those games, he has been shooting better than what I'm seeing right here. He shot 100% for the past 2 games, for the ones against Portland and Minnesota. And the Denver game, he shot 87%. And Oklahoma City game, he shot 77%. And the Laker game, he shot 89%. So the free throw line is like really holding him up in these points that we've been seeing. But from the field, it's looking not too good. Let me pull up actually what's his stats looking like for tonight when he played Dallas. We're looking at pulling them up right now on the quick fly. James Harden stats. Mavericks. Oh, yeah, he shot good tonight. He went 10 for 25 tonight. Only missing 15. That's 15 shots. That's still a lot of shots missed. But he had 35 points. And he had 16. He had 16 rebounds. Good for James Harden. Yes, okay. I know some of y'all like that's still bad, Kendall. Like, come on, the Rockets they're not looking too good. Yes, they're not looking as good as I thought or as many thought they would start out this season looking. But it's a process. More specifically on that game they played on Wednesday against the Trailblazers. As everybody know, this rivalry that has been made between Russ and Dame Lillard. This is as a Russell Westbrook fan, you know, Russell did play good on Wednesday. He had 39 points, I believe. This rivalry is I don't know, it messes me up because if you know me, I talk to my friends, I talk about the Trailblazers. I think they're bums. I'm sorry, that's just my personal opinion. Like I never think I never think they're good, and they're not that good this year. Granted, they did lose some pieces like Al-Farouq Aminu, Seth Curry, Mo Harkless, Zach Collins is injured right now. They lost Myers Leonard. They lost some good pieces that was in their rotation last year. Well, even then, I was like, these guys ain't that good still. But they was third in the West last year. And this season, they're 10th in the West right now with the addition of Carmelo Anthony. They just traded for Trevor Ariza and Caleb Swanigan. They got Rodney Hood. Zach Collins, like I said, is hurt. Nurkic is still hurt. They did obtain Hassan Whiteside, Mario Hazonia, who I thought was going to be a good addition for him. I thought. But it's not helping them. But just between Russ and Dane, they just been going at it. And Wednesday night, man, Dame was disrespectful again. This man literally was crossing half court and pulling up from the plate from the Trailblazer logo, 2 threes in Russ's face. It was just, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it, but this man was giving it. But Russ was giving it to him too. Like, it's not like Russ was just taking the butt whooping and not giving it back to him. We're not going to, like, that's not Russ's game. Put some respect on his name. But in that game, Lillard did get his first triple-double in his career. Russell has more than one, leads the league an all-time triple-double. But Dame Lillard went on to post a picture of them two hugging it out after the game. And Dame Lillard with the quote on his Instagram saying, or the caption I should say, saying, they confuse competing with hate when it's ruthless versus ruthless. #respect. #first triple-double. So, I guess from that situation, it just seems that Dame just had to earn Russ's respect. And like in basketball, it can get very competitive. Like a lot of old heads, like people like the players today be like, oh, y'all friends, like we did not like each other back then, blah blah blah, this and that. And this is like one of the most interesting rivalries in the league, especially when they go at it, because it's like so competitive. Like I would say if the Trailblazers somehow made it to the playoffs, and if they get out the first round, like just to see the Rockets and the Trailblazers in the playoffs, that'd be a good thing to see, because when you think about like just all the ingredients that's going into this pot, this rivalry, like I said, you got Russ and Dame. Carmelo used to play for the Rockets, and now being like he got shipped out, like basically released after 10 games, and now he's playing for the Trailblazers, doing good. And you got, like I said, like the Blazers don't even like Russ, like even the organization, like he was getting booed a lot of times. And Trevor Ariza, who did used to play for the Rockets, who is now on the Trailblazers. So it's like so many pieces you see here. I think it'll be like an interesting like matchup to see in the playoffs. But the Trailblazers the way it's looking, they might not make it to the playoffs. So we might not see that. But it'd be something that'd be interesting. And we start off the season thinking that like the Rockets can, like they're one of like a championship contender. The way it's looking, they're sitting 6th in the West, 5th now actually after beating the Mavericks. I don't think they're going, maybe, I don't know, because people have to get on James Harden not being a playoff, like showing up in the playoffs, and Russell Westbrook doing the same. I disagree with Russell, but with James, it's up there. And one of the big questions, it makes you ask, what is their problem? Like, why can't Houston get it together? Like, some people say they was better off with Chris Paul. You hear some people say, well, with Russell Westbrook, they're a faster team. Granted, their offense has gotten faster, but their defense has suffered. They lost their defensive coordinator. I forgot his name. I forgot his name. I can't think of it right now. But they lost their defensive coordinator, which was a big part of like keeping their defense together. And you can argue, maybe say that Chris Paul is a better defender than Russ, even at this age. I personally think Russ is better, even though like he doesn't really put as much effort in defense as he used to. But I think when he wants to, I think he could be a better defender than Chris Paul. But that's my opinion. You can all just disagree if you want to. I don't care. But what is the problem? To me, I think it's D'Antoni at this point. And if you notice at the beginning of the season, the owner of the team, not Daryl Morey, that's the GM. I forgot the owner's name. But he did not give D'Antoni an extension on his contract, and which is very surprising, because like at this point, it's like, I gave you Westbrook. We upgraded from Chris Paul to Westbrook. But you look at that as an upgrade. I do. And this is championship expectation. This is a championship team. You have the same team essentially as you had last season. You just traded one player. You got Westbrook instead of Chris Paul. So essentially, with 2 MVPs on your team and still in their prime, you would think that this is a championship team. So why aren't they a top team in the West? Personally, I think it's D'Antoni. I think it comes to the point where he needs to get questioned about what he's doing, how he's coaching his team. Because if you look at it and the way they play, if you look at how they played when Chris Paul first got there, him and James Harden was staggering minutes. They were still playing well, and they ended up having the number 1 seed in the West. Last season, however, they was playing. They started off bad actually, and then Chris Paul went out. And the month of December last season, that's when James Harden started going off. That's when he started having this turd, just scoring points, going for like 40, going 30, 50, like just scoring. And that's when we start seeing the offense of that system change to just being James Harden being so ball dominant and basically being the point guard. So when Chris Paul came back, that's where it kind of like conflicted a little bit between the two, and they had to like figure it out, like how's it going to change? And then Tony didn't really change the system. He just expected Chris Paul to just adjust. Well, that didn't jive too well with Chris Paul, and like just like in there, you can see in the way they played with each other, and ultimately they didn't get the job done as they lost in Western semis last season to the Warriors. So I would think that they adjusted the system, and we've seen Russell Westbrook kind of taking a back seat because people thinking, oh, they have the highest usage rate in NBA history. How they gonna coexist with each other? Like Russell Westbrook is not. I always been an advocate saying that like Russell Westbrook is not as ball dominant as people make it seem. If you notice, Paul George, an MVP candidate last season, had his best career with best season. I should say his best season with Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant also won an MVP with Russell Westbrook on his team. So it's like, how can you really say that when these players are still shining with Russell Westbrook on their team? Like, he's not as ball dominant. I say that with players that he could trust and that are actually really good, he gives them their time to shine, and it's like he'll take a back seat. Like Russell Westbrook's not even averaging a triple-double this season. He's really not. His numbers is like for the past couple years since he teamed up with Paul George and Melo when they first got to OKC, like his scoring average has actually like been dropping. He's been able to average triple-double those last 3 seasons with OKC. He's not even averaging triple-double this season. And, like, you don't hear too many people talk about it because, like, that's not the storyline they want. They want to act like, oh, Russell needs to do this. Russell needs to do that. They really don't. James Harden is still averaging the most points in the league right now, close to 40 points, with Russell Westbrook on his team. So it's not Russell's fault. You can't blame him. And like I said, the way James Harden is shooting right now, he has to get better at his shooting. He just has to. Like it's not looking too good. He's still getting like to the foul line, getting some points, which he is a master of getting to the foul line. He's a artist, if you will, when it comes to that. But as far as like the team and the way they play and their defense is abysmal this year. They have one of the worst defensive efficiencies in the league right now. They need to get better. So what I see for coming is at the end of the season, with them not getting, I'll say they make it to the Western semis. As a Rockets fan, I'm being honest with myself. They're going to make it to the Western semis because we all know it's going to be the Clippers and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. The way the West is looking and the way just the whole NBA is looking, which is going to lead to my next topic. Like, I see them getting to the Western semis, and from that point, we'll see D'Antoni get fired. Because, like I said, they have a good team around them. We'll see D'Antoni get fired, and they need to bring in a new coach. Who would that be? Who is a good Fizdale? I don't know how they will. Nah, I don't know. Fizdale maybe. Well, Mark Jackson, he's still out there. There's some good coaches out there. Maybe they'll probably still a coach from somebody's team. We'll see that as the season progresses. We'll start hearing more rumbles about that later on in the season because maybe it's still January. Maybe D'Antoni can flip it around. He can find a way. He got till April. And the way it's looking, they're still in the playoff contention. So it's not too much of a worry. But come playoff time and when they lose, it's going to become a problem. It's going to become evident that, like, yeah, this needs to change. Because at that point, it won't be the players. It will be D'Antoni.